to talk about on the Super Bowl. We're going to get into the halftime. What happened? What took place? Want to get your thoughts, the educational piece of it as well. So, you know what? If you want to weigh in with your thoughts, if you've been bottled up all day, you've been at work, and you haven't been able to share what your thoughts on the Super Bowl or the halftime was, we'd love to hear from you. You can call us. You can text us. The phone line, the text line, they are the same line, making it easy for you. 1-800-859-0WJR, 1-800-859-0957. Or you can fire some tweets at us as well. Use the social channels at WJR Radio.
We want conspiracists. Anybody call in, you got an opinion about it. Remember, we talked about two things already that we talked about, the Gatorade color.
Oh, they were mixing the Gatorade on television?
Did you see that? I mean, come on, man. There was no suspense to what color was going to come and get thrown on the coach because they had let it known.
And you can wager on that?
And AB. The other thing I was a little concerned with was Joe Montana flipping that coin.
What a wingspan.
I mean,
that dude can tie his shoes standing up.
I was wondering, like, you know, I wasn't exactly paying attention at that moment because the game's not started. You're trying to lock in. And I was like, did they just have Joe Montana choose and then flip the coin? That doesn't make sense.
Thank you. I mean, think about all those people that had money on that prop bet of heads or tails. And then you got this guy, not the referee flipping the coin. You got Joe Montana, San Francisco.
Look how long his arms are.
I mean, you keep talking about his arm.
My man looked like E.T. Don't break that monitor. Ray's going to have a fit. Oh, my goodness. Please. All right, what is going on in the sports world? We'll try to get you all caught up with all the happenings. We'll do so right now in the headlines.
Big news.
I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
No, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories of the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
All right, so the Detroit Tigers, Lomas Brown, are officially moving their broadcast to MLB Media. But what exactly does all of this mean for you, the fan? Illich Sports and Entertainment announced earlier today that the Tigers broadcasts are going to be transitioning from the FanDuel Sports Network to MLB Media for the upcoming 2026 season, with the Red Wings, also owned by Illich Sports and Entertainment, will also be moving to MLB Media for the 26-27 season. Now, that means no more FanDuel Sports Network for Tigers and Wings fans, but what about the Pistons? We have talked about this, and I've been speculating about this. I believe, personally, what will happen is, because the infrastructure is already in place, Illich Sports and Entertainment will take the Red Wings and the Tigers, much like we see with MSG TV, much like what we see with the Yes Network, what we see out in L.A. Tom Gorris will hop on, and we'll basically have our old school format, and it'll all be right there.
That's what you would think, Anthony.
I think that. Now, the key is will they take a play out of the very wise Matt Ishbia's playbook? Matt Ishbia, former Michigan State Spartans, current owner of the Phoenix Suns. Now, the genius behind him is when they got rid of their regional sports network, he took his games over the air. Why is that important? You need to get into as many homes as physically possible. Then you could sell from there. If I owned a pizzeria, would I want to have a pizza club card that you could only access my pizza if you bought a subscription to buy pizza from me? No, I want people to be able to drive by my pizzeria and stop in for a pizza or order anytime they want to. That's what you get with over the air. Flip through the channels and, the Wings are on. The Tigers are on. Maybe eventually the Pistons are on. And boom, you can watch from there, just like the good old days.
No.
And then if people don't have, for whatever reason, they don't have the ability to get the game over the air, then you would be able to provide some sort of additional subscription package.
But Anthony, the problem with that, having it at a quote unquote over the air station, for baseball, Channel 7 doesn't want to give up 150 days of their nightly news.
Correct.
Channel 6, Channel 4. So it has to be maybe a secondary station that one of those stations owns, like a Channel 20 that's a subsidiary, but not exactly their main station.
Yes.
But the real issue is what you said, that the Illiches have this infrastructure. That was always the rumor, that the Illiches were building a TV studio inside LCA. I've been down there. There's no TV studio down there. That's the next thing, is you got to build out a studio space.
They can make it happen. If Ozzy's got enough infrastructure in his house to have a broadcast, they can do it.
Yeah.
Have some faith.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, it sounds like a great idea. It sounds like it would bring kind of like maybe not your avid fans, but your casual fans.
Right.
It would be a way for them to get more engaged with the team. We'll just see what they do. Is it because of the team, loyalty to the fans, or is it the almighty dollar?
Right. And if I'm ownership, what I want to do is I want to make my product not only easily accessible for the diehard, but I want to bring in the casual fan as well.
Yeah.
And I want to make it easy to find. That's priority number one. The Detroit Pistons over the weekend, how good were they? A 118-80 winner over the New York Knicks. They are outscoring these guys by a plethora of points. Their first two meetings, they've been absolute blowouts against the Knicks. Meeting number one not too long ago inside LCA, 121-90. This go around 118-80. And what I love the most about this, Lomas Brown, you don't even really have to play the starters that much. I mean, Cade Cunningham played 22 minutes, had 11, 5, and 7. Go ahead and take a seat. And Dennis Jenkins finally gets his contract paperwork sorted out. 2 years, $8 million. You'll love to see it.
Yeah, that's great. I'm happy for Janice. Glad they got him tied up again. And I know he is. He was talking today about, the guys that went before him or guys that got drafted before him.
Oh, yeah.
He just feels like he's on that par with those guys or better than a lot of those guys that went ahead of him. So I'm glad to see they rewarded this young man.
Jalen Duren out for the dunk contest, but still in for the All-Star game. The boys are back tonight, 7 o'clock tip-off down in Charlotte. They'll play Wednesday in Toronto, and then they'll break for the All-Star festivities this coming weekend.
Yeah,
Michigan Wolverines, 82-61 winners against the Ohio State Buckeyes yesterday in the Schottenstein Center. You want to talk about a game that wasn't much of a game? Oh, my goodness. Adai Mara, 24 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists for the 7-footer Spaniard, 11 of 16 from the field, 2 of 2 from beyond the arc. Easy work there for the Maize and Blue down in Columbus. They'll be back on the road midweek on Wednesdays. They'll take on Northwestern, 8:30 tip-off over on BTN.
No, great game. I mean, again, man, Michigan they are rolling right now, man. I expect some big things from them come tourney time.
We took a little bit of an extra frame there, a little OT for the Spartans, 10th ranked in the nation, hosting number 5 Illinois, 85-82. Spartans come out on top. Jeremy Fears did play in the game, did start in the game. 26 points, 3 rebounds, 15 assists in 43 minutes, included 12 of 13 from the line. Coach Izzo wanted more from Kohler on the boards. Well, he got it 11 and 16 rebounds from Kohler in the ball game. And now Sparty gets a little bit of a break here. They'll get to rest up until Friday night where they'll go to Madison on the road against Wisconsin for an 8 o'clock tip-off on Big Fox.
Well, definitely, Jared Fears has been their best player. I mean, again, he's giving you double-doubles when you talk about the 26 points with 15 assists, man. That's the way to get the rest of your team involved in the game. So nice victory for the Spartans over a tough Illinois team that's lost we're ranked higher than them and has lost the exact amount of games that they've lost, 20-4 on the season.
Yeah, if you're Brad Underwood and company, you didn't want to have to trip up in East Lansing. The Atlanta Falcons rookie James Pierce Jr. allegedly crashed his vehicle into one being driven by WNBA player Rakia Jackson multiple times and struck a police officer with the vehicle while trying to evade arrest, according to the criminal complaint. Probably saw the video circulating online. What is this guy doing? Had a great season. It's all coming down. 10.5 sacks last year for James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee. That career might be short-lived.
Well, he'll be visiting the commissioner. I'm quite sure he's going to get a hefty FedEx envelope delivered to his household. That's what they send the fines in, AB.
Is that what it is?
Oh, they're going to touch him. They're going to touch him. They're going deep in his pockets.
All right. Well, we're going to step aside. When we return, we're going to dive into all things Super Bowl 60 and the halftime show. We want to get your thoughts. We're going to get Lois's thoughts, Dan's thoughts, a lot of thoughts on what took place at the break point, because there were 691 yards worth of punts during this football game. So we were all kind of relying on halftime. We'll dive into it next year on SportsWrap.
right now to make sure life-saving care isn't delayed for accident victims, surgery patients, and those facing critical treatments for cancer and chronic blood disorders.
Michigan sports fans come to talk. Sponsored by Elite Diversity Staffing, Hudsonville Ice Cream, and University of Michigan Credit Union. Here are your hosts, Lomas Brown and Anthony Bellino.
Welcome back here to SportsWrap, the great voice of the Great Lakes, 760 WJR, and the Big 1050 WTKA in Ann Arbor. Danica Halen behind the glass. That's the Lions legend, Lomas Brown. I'm Anthony Bellino. Great to have you riding along with us. A little bad money here for you if you didn't get enough of it last night. And you know what? That's where we want to start here. You know, how much kicking can you have in one football game, Lomas Brown? I mean, I know that kickers are people too. You know, we would definitely want to have kickers.
Yeah, we had a lot last night. Speaking of that, the punter for New England from Michigan.
That's right.
He played with my son back in third grade. So Bryce Behringer. So he got a lot of work, probably a lot of work he didn't want to get last night, but he got a lot, 8, 9 kicks in. So that's a lot for a punter.
That's a lot of kicking right there. 1-800-859-0WJR is the number, 1-800-859-0957. And look, it's a 9-0 game at halftime. Nobody can move the football. And at that point, it's like, get me to halftime, right? This is now let's get to the fun stuff here. And that's, let's just start there. What did you make of the halftime show? Because let's be honest, the game wasn't any good, and even the commercials were awful.
Yeah. I wasn't really impressed with the commercials this year. And this was the year I got the opportunity to watch them, because years past, I'm normally doing a Super Bowl, some type of Super Bowl event. But I got a chance to sit home, watch the commercials, and I think the one I really liked was the horse and the little baby eagle. Yeah, when they grew up together and he took off and he was a big fella and all that.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that
was
a good one. I think that was the one I enjoyed the most.
You crying over there?
Yeah.
Is it because he was just a little guy and they turned into a big fella?
That morphed into a big fella.
See, all I had to do, one big fella got the guy emotional. You said Brad in Rochester Hills is up first? All right, let's get over to Brad. Brad, good evening to you. Welcome to Sports Chat, my friend. How are you today, partner?
Hey, great to talk to you and Woman long term. This is the first time I called your show, even though I've called some of the other talk shows on WJR many times.
Brad, did you just hit us with a first time, long time right there? Oh, I love that. There it is. Hey-o.
Yeah, like I said, I've listened to your show on a regular basis, but this is the first time I ever called to talk to you guys. I want to give my comments on last night's milestone Super Bowl 60. I was glad that Seattle won their very first Super Bowl title since 2014.
Yeah, go ahead. Let it fly.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, given the fact that their head coach is young as he is, a little bit younger than my age. He has connections to Michigan State as an alumni, and I listened to Spartans basketball during the basketball season. Same with football during the football season. You guys are the best carrier for Michigan State Athletics radio, I'll tell you. Now, on behalf to come to the defense of Lomas Brown, and given the fact he's a color analyst alongside Dan Miller for the Lions radio broadcast, I look forward to a possible not only entry into the playoffs again, but I'm looking forward to what could be the very first Super Bowl appearance of the Lions in Super Bowl 61 next year.
Yeah, I'm. You know what? I'm glad you went there, because I was telling AB off air, I think the pressure is ramped up on the Lions this year to get it done. I think we have to get it done this year, next year at the least. But we have to get it done. We have to be in the Super Bowl. Looking at an easier schedule, the Patriots, what they did with an easy schedule this year. Looking at some of the injuries. Now, we got a lot of injuries we got to kind of navigate our way through, but I'm fully expecting Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes to work their magic, and I expect the Lions to be in the Super Bowl out at SoFi Stadium next year.
Brad, appreciate the call. Let's get over to Mark and Warren. Mark, welcome to the program, my friend. How are you this evening, partner?
Hey, good evening, gents. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Thanks for having me on. I watched.
Hit him with the bell. Long time, first time. I love it.
So I watched the game with family, but I was trying to be a good host. They were over my house. The best part for me was the commercial, the Budweiser commercial. Now, on the halftime show, what a slap in the face to American entertainment. What a slap in the face to African Americans, to Japanese Americans, Indian Americans, Korean, German, Italian. They brought in an import that can't speak English. Nobody understood what he said. And that was a protest. That wasn't entertainment. It's this Bugs Bunny running through the cornfield. I mean, what a goose egg for NFL. And what about giving a undiscovered talent a chance to perform and celebrate the American game? You got some of the toughest men on planet Earth playing, and now they're being entertained by this Bugs Bunny. I mean, nobody knows who he is. It's all hype. We got plenty of American entertainers. We got plenty of entertainers in Detroit that could have done a fabulous job. So, yeah, it was what a missed opportunity. It's horrible. The Japanese Americans never got a chance to be in the Super Bowl to be entertained. You know, I could have used some of that. What is your thought?
Lo, you want to go first?
And again, I told me and AB talked about this off air again, and the hardest part for me was because I didn't understand what was being said, the music. I didn't understand it because it was in Spanish. So that was the biggest thing to me, was the language barrier. And you're right. It's enough people here, American-born people here, that could have put on a show. But I know the NFL, if you think about it, they want to be global. They're spreading this game out throughout. Think about some of the places where we play games at now, not only London, but you're talking about Australia. We're going down there. Brazil, they're going over there to play games. Mexico. So they're trying to become this global entity. And I think the Super Bowl, everybody looks at that as an American thing, unofficial holiday, right? That's how some people look at the Super Bowl.
At least next year, the holiday will line up that we'll have the following day, Super Bowl Monday off. Mark, appreciate the call and the thought there. And the one thing going into this Super Bowl, now I'll preface this for the listenership. As someone who could speak Spanish and as a fan of Bad Bunny, when they announced it, I was like, all right, this is going to go one of a couple directions. And called it very, very early on that exactly what we've seen over the last 24 hours is kind of exactly what happened, right? It was going to be very, very polarizing because there are going to be some that were very excited about it, just like any Super Bowl halftime show. You could take last year's, for example, as well with Kendrick Lamar and company. Half the people are going to like the Super Bowl halftime show. Mm-hmm. Half the people are not, and half the people aren't going to care, right? And so that's the way I always talk about like my job with the teams. Like half the people love me and half the people hate me and half the people don't even give a rat's behind. It's kind of the way I look at the Super Bowl as well. So two things, one of which Puerto Rico, where Bad Bunny is from, Benito, that is a U.S. territory.
Yep.
So they have all of the same rights as U.S. citizen except for the right to vote. But they can be drafted in our military. So there is a very strong connection to the United States. And he can speak English. He's been on multiple late-night talk shows. He's been in WWE. He can speak English. But a lot of his music, a majority of which, 99.9%, is in Spanish.
He speaks perfect English. Let's be real.
It's not perfect, but it's close. It's pretty close.
The man couldn't come up with a translation for a certain word, and people are freaking out because of that. It's like the guy was speaking perfect English. There was a weird word that he didn't know because there's probably no English word for the word he was looking for.
And that happens a lot with our sales rep, Gian, where I will ask him, like, hey, what is this word in Spanish? And he'll look at me and be like, do you think I ever needed to say that word? Like, I don't know what that word is, right? And it's like, oh, okay, well, like we might be like lost in translation. So there was definitely going to be some pushback as far as having no different as if we had a hip hop act in the previous Super Bowl.
Which we had last year.
Right, with Kendrick Lamar. There was going to be some pushback there. There would be a lot of fans that were football fans that didn't want to listen to that. If they would have put Bon Jovi out there, who, by the way, I mean, outside of the hair color, Bon Jovi looks pretty good for his age. I don't know what his skincare routine is, but I mean, Bon Jovi's looking pretty good out there. They could have put Green Day out there. They could have probably ran with Metallica or whomever. There are always going to be people that aren't going to necessarily like it. The language thing, I think, is probably the one piece that has most people hung up on the entirety of the Super Bowl halftime. Now, we do have to take a break, but I do want to come back, and we're going to talk more about this, obviously more about the game, and then what our thoughts as far as that game and the translation to what it means for the Lions moving forward. But there is a song that he sang during that performance that would be applicable to every single human being that has ever walked the face of the planet. And the entire song is about if we would have had more time together, like we should have taken more photos. Like I should have hugged you more. I should have kissed you. Like it was all about like that time that you had, whether it was a loved one, a relationship, whatever the case might have been. But it was about that. And obviously, if you don't speak the language, you don't understand what he's saying. But that is the entirety of the song. And it's him going through basically like the grieving process of if we would have had more time, this is what I would have done. Had you understood the lyrics, it would have made a lot more sense. But the overall, like the vibe, the rhythm, he said, look, and he said this, I don't need you to learn Spanish. I'd prefer you learn how to dance. I thought that was a pretty good quote. So we'll come back. Don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here to SportsWrap. Plenty more to go here. 760 WJR. You know, Lo, the smartest teams prepare for whatever comes next. And at Elite Educators Insurance, they got a team right there that can help you do the same. So when it comes to protecting what you've worked hard to build, having the right coverage matters. In Elite Educators Insurance, they specialize in coverage for educators while also providing insurance solutions for individuals and families in every profession.
From home, auto, renter's insurance, we provide coverage that fits your lifestyle. They take time to understand your needs and match you with the right protection. No confusing jargon, no cookie-cutter policies, just straightforward guidance from people who know the game.
So whether you work in education or anywhere else, Elite Educators Insurance makes coverage simple, personal, and easy to manage. Learn more today at EliteEducatorsAgency.com.
SportsWrap, where Michigan sports fans come to talk. Sponsored by Elite Diversity Staffing, Hudsonville Ice Cream, and University of Michigan Credit Union. Here are your hosts, Lomas Brown and Anthony Bellino.
Welcome back here to Sports Wrap. Great voice of the Great Lakes, 760 WJR, 1-800-859-0957, 1-800-859-0WJR. Those are our digits. That's the Lions legend, Lomas Brown. Call him, say hi. Hit us with the first time, long time. You get a bell if you give us the that's classic radio.
I like callers calling in. I like that, man, because again, they mix up the conversation. They give you their opinion, and you get to dive into it and see if it's anything that's kind of connecting with what you feel about things, what you feel about issues, what you feel about what's going on. So I like when we get callers in.
Yeah, feel free anytime, whether in the middle of a segment. It doesn't matter. These phone lines are always open. You can call us. You can text us. Either one. 1-800-859-0WJR. That's 0957. Danny Cahalan behind the glass. Mark gave us his take on this. And I feel like Mark is not alone in his thoughts and feelings, right? But in the beginning of the Super Bowl 60 halftime show, what it was a story of the island of Puerto Rico. So Bad Bunny, the artist, who I think he might be going through a little transition. He might be dropping out of the Bad Bunny and going more towards his first name of Benito, because there was a lot of that. So he starts off in the sugar cane, right? And that's a massive part of the colonialization, the industrialization, the farmers, the agriculture, Coca-Cola, very big there. As he moves out of the cane, and he's actually gaining more yards than the New England Patriots had on his journey through the cane, you'll notice a little cart. And the little cart is selling what looks like coconuts, Coco Frio. Coco Frio it's a very popular drink, and it's kind of like, no, we don't need Coca-Cola, this sugary processed drink. We have our own drink here, right? You saw the frog that was up on the scoreboard. That frog, a native frog of Puerto Rico, makes a very distinctive sound on the island, and it just makes a noise all day long, all day, every day. It's all day, every day, this very particular sound, the coquille that it makes. You saw him duck underneath two guys boxing intertwined in the culture and the heritage of Puerto Ricans. You think of like Miguel Cotto or Felix Trinidad. Like Tito Trinidad is Hector Macho Camacho, right? You're talking about guys that are like larger than life figures. Think of the PR baseball team that they're going to field, the World Baseball Classic. That team is going to be loaded, right? So the symbolism there is he ducks underneath the boxers, and then you see the four older guys playing dominoes, and how important that is. And then you see the couple as he picks up a piece of jewelry, and the guy proposes to the girl. The couple that was acting out the wedding, they actually invited Bad Bunny to their wedding. And Bad Bunny said, no, why don't you get married at halftime of the Super Bowl and come to my performance? That was an actual wedding there. And so he takes you around through Puerto Rico, basically. And then he ends up in the diaspora of New York. And that's where there was an actual store owner from a particular store in New York. That's where he takes the shot from. And he goes through kind of how the Puerto Rican influence, the Puerto Rican Day Parade in New York, and how huge that is in that aspect, right? And so it was the story of the island. And you're also talking about, this is that country's Michael Jackson. Like that's who this is. He's as big as it gets. The Latino culture is about as Republican as it gets. It's faith, family, football. It's just a different football. We call it soccer. But that's about, they're rooted in that. They're rooted in a work ethic, right? All of those beliefs are the same. There's just a little bit of language there that's different. And we're just in a very trying time here in our country to where a performance like that, especially not in English, was going to rub some people the wrong way. It was going to bother some people. And I understood that. And that was kind of the part where it was announced, and I was like, I got it, right? I saw both sides of the argument.
Well, I give the NFL credit. I do. Because that's an enormous risk that they took doing that. If you think about the last 2 years of the Super Bowl,
Most watched
entertainment,
Super Bowl show since 2018.
yeah, I mean, think about it. But they, again, I commend Roger Goodell and the NFL for wanting to show the diversity of this league, because this is one of the most diverse leagues. When you talk about football, you talk about all the different nationalities that come together to play that great game. And knowing that, you know that your fan base is a very, very diverse fan base. And like you say, the Latinos, the Hispanics, they played a major, major role in this country, and doing it now. I mean, so you have to respect that. And I just think, again, how the NFL is trying to go global, how they're where we have some of the games that are going at and being played at this, not just these years,
Spain,
but where we go,
France,
absolutely,
Germany,
yep, Australia,
the UK, Australia.
Yeah.
You mentioned Brazil
Yeah.
earlier, Mexico.
yeah,
They're going all over the place.
all over the place. I mean,
It's a global brand.
yeah, it really is. And, you have to commend them, because all the fans who enjoy this game is global.
Mhm.
They're diverse like that. So I give the NFL a lot of credit for stepping out there, because they knew, like you say, they knew it was going to come with
Oh, yeah.
controversy. They already knew that half of the population was going to like it, and probably more than half of the population, but you had a large number of the population that wasn't going to be on board with that.
The other thing that really stood out to me that I hope people understand is that he climbed the telephone pole.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the performance, like there were sparks and the lights got dim, and that was a visual representation of the constant power grid failures that Puerto Rico goes through. Days, weeks, months without power. Their infrastructure, their grid is an absolute disaster.
So, AB, just real fast, I'm just thinking, and I reflect back to Mark's call. Sports used to be kind of unfiltered. And what I mean by that, it was purely about the game. Sports, that was it. You went there for your entertainment. You didn't have to worry about a lot of ancillary things like Colin Kaepernick not standing for the national anthem, kneeling for that. Some of the protests that we've seen, how some of the artists come on and they're letting their political stance or, letting their stance be known, whether it's be political, whether it's community, human, whatever it is. But now I think when you have the pure sports people, like a Mark, they don't want it to kind of get woven into the game of football. They just want sports. They're going there just for the game. They don't want all the other things that kind of come with that to infiltrate the game and start, kind of mixing into the game. That's my opinion on some of the people that find it hard to get on board with some of this.
And I'll give you this. Like, at least he was politics free.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was nothing political. Like at the end, it was like everybody together. He brought, he mentioned all the different countries that make up the Americas here in the Western Hemisphere. I mean, he didn't go overtly or obtuse when it came to some sort of like crazy political message. He didn't take any shots.
Right.
I didn't think, now if I were the president's PR guy, that was a miss there. I would have definitely went with my whole, hey, look, Latinos are Republican. This is great. I'm sure I didn't understand what he was saying, but I brought in so-and-so to help, guide me through what he was talking about. The tweet post-game, post-halftime show from the Prez, I think he missed.
Yeah.
Had I been in the room, we're singing a completely different tune, and we're locking up a lot of votes. We're locking up a lot of them, Lo.
And to be honest with you, I think if he did take a shot, Benito, a.k.a. Bad Bunny, it was more at the Puerto Rican. If you look at their government, their politics, their I would think that more so especially when you're talking about him climbing up the
power
pole.
lines.
Yeah, because you're right. That's a big problem there. I told you, my wife's best friend, her best friend she grew up with, she's Puerto Rican. Jackie is. And so that's been a problem going on for a whole bunch of years. So if he took any shot, it wouldn't have been at the United States. I think it would have been more so directed at Puerto Rico.
So Super Bowl party, right? Were you at home?
Yes, home.
Okay. Anybody just keeping it
No,
local?
it's just
family?
me, the
Okay.
wife, and we
Yeah,
had
okay.
one visitor.
All right, there you go. So I did a little Super Bowl party, and halftime comes around. This is being played, and my best friend is Puerto Rican.
Mm-hmm.
And this usually the second thing out of his mouth is, "Hi, my name is," and the second part is, "I'm Puerto Rican." There's a lot of pride there, right? Puerto Rican, and by the way, in Puerto Rico, you could be any flavor of the rainbow. Like they look from blonde hair, blue eyes to dark. They're everything in between from an like a color standpoint. And so he'll tell you right off the rip, like, I am Puerto Rican. That's who I am. Like Roberto, it's like Jesus, his parents, Roberto Clemente. In that order. Like the Roberto Clemente is high up on this list of people of importance, right? And it's a close second. He might actually, Roberto might be above his parents. So, you think about this, and we're sitting there, and there was pushback immediately about the halftime show, and I knew he was uncomfortable. And somebody in the space, in the party, was like, "Man, I feel like I need a fajita." And he said, "Well, why?" He's like, "I feel like I'm in a Mexican restaurant." It's like, well, the singer's Puerto Rican. That would be like us listening to the Canadian national anthem. Somebody go, "Man, I need a hamburger and a hot dog from Burger King." Like there's no
some poutine fries.
Yeah, like it's not the same. Like you talk about Mexican boxer versus Puerto Rican boxer. That's like the Michigan Ohio State of boxing, right? And so there was, then you get the very uncomfortable scenario there where it's like, all right, like, are we really doing this right now? You get into that realm, and it's like, yeah, this is actually really happening, to the point where it's like, you leave there and it's like, do you go back?
I mean,
like that was a real life situation.
I'm quite sure this was cooler talk too around a lot of offices today. I mean, because it was polarizing. So again, I don't know whether they knew, or maybe they wanted it to be thought provocative. Maybe they wanted this to kind of resonate so people can talk it out. That's the thing we're missing these days, not to get too political, AB. But we're a political station. Well, we're missing being able to voice your opinions about how you feel about things without people being overly sensitive, or people, taking the violent steps or whatever comes, the aftermath out of that. Everybody doesn't see the same. We aren't the same. I mean, it's billions of us here, and we see things just differently, and that's all right. I mean, it's all right, because sometimes if you sit back and you really listen to another person, it may be able to persuade your thoughts about what you felt about things. Like you say, education is the most powerful tool out there. And when you educate people sometime, then they kind of can, okay, maybe I need to sit back and just marinate on this, just see what this is all about. And I think sometimes, without them knowing they did that, I think this Super Bowl, these last couple of years, I think it's kind of generated a lot more cooler talk. And hopefully it'll be able to have people have conflicts, but not conflicting. You know what I'm saying? Not being conflicted as far as violence turn into this or that, but being able to voice their opinions and say, hey, I feel this way, you may feel another way. I mean, that's what America's all about. That's what, right? That's what democracy is all about.
And that's why, even though I disagree with Mark's call, right, in his messaging and kind of stance there, if we could talk it out as far as hey, this is what it meant, I understood where he was coming from, because I understand he's not alone in that, and nor am I trying to change, because I have no problem with people trying to protect what they feel is theirs.
Right. No,
right.
And
that's a part of it too.
Right.
Look at the UK right now.
And I'm just looking through the historical Super Bowl halftimes. They've done weird stuff. This isn't weird. I don't want to say that. They used to do weird stuff, like have a Island of the Caribbean's just band mix in 1979. There has been stuff before from other countries that has represented, the halftime at the Super Bowl. I thought the performance was great. It told a story from beginning to end. You didn't have to know one word to see the story he told. End of story.
Yes.
Yeah.
And part of this,
So-
too, is in the modern age of social media, it wouldn't matter. If you cooked a steak right now and put it online, you would have 1,000 comments of people telling you how wrong you are about doing, because you're cooking the steak the way that you want it.
Mhm.
You're not feeding the rest of the internet. You just posted a video on Facebook or on Twitter, Instagram, and people are going to tell you, no, you're not doing that right. And that's the current landscape that we live in, unfortunately.
And we actually had this conversation the other day about the Olympics. We just don't have any Olympic pride right now because our country is just down.
Yeah.
We're just having a down time in our country. And this is another thing that's adding to it when it should be bringing us together.
You know what could bring us back? USA Hockey. Hey, the boys go out there.
Who's on the team?
Austin Matthews, the captain. Dylan Larkin.
No.
What do you mean? Hey, the boys go out there and they bring home a gold in hockey. That'll bring a little life. The Kachuk brothers, especially if they go out there and start beating people up.
It seemed like it should bring some life to it anyway, as far as the Olympics. I mean, that used to be something where, like you say, the nations got behind, or the whole nation got behind that. So it seemed like, yeah, it shouldn't be all on hockey. It should just be a time where we all come together and we cheering, right, to take as many
Winter
goals.
Olympics, what is this, Cool Runnings? What do you want to get on the bobsled track here? I mean, we talked about that, how difficult it would be. Like, you'd be
Our
great
team
for the bobsled.
can't even get in the bobsled. Did you see that?
No.
The U.S. team, one guy out of the 4 got in the bobsled, and he went down the track by himself.
That'd be just like we talked about when Lo was on vacation, how difficult that would be for us to get into the bobsled together.
Yeah.
If we had to practice in the tub. Can you imagine us?
No.
Okay.
I couldn't.
Well, that's a tough image anyway.
Yeah, that is.
Well, we are going to get to we'll get more into the actual football game itself. But, I mean, it was 691 yards worth of punts. And we'll take more of your calls, whether it's on halftime or on the football game. But tomorrow on the program, how far away after watching this football game do you actually believe that the Lions are? Because if you saw what we saw last night, and Lomas and I talked a little bit about this, I don't think we're that far off, folks. Do you, Lomas?
No, we're not that far off, but we got to get it done, AB. I mean, we've been there almost to the mountaintop. We were almost able to touch it a couple of years ago, but, I mean, we've fallen down a little bit, so we got to get back up there.
It's the tale of the second mountain, or whatever that story is. It's a book on Amazon.
Well, I'm a little impatient.
No, you get to the first mountain, and then you realize you got to go down to get up to the second mountain, Lomas.
Man, as a Lion fan, they want to get there now. They don't want to go down that second, go down
they
again
get the
to
valley?
get all. No, they don't want to do that. It's been so much valley. We spent so much time in the valley. We're ready to see how the view looks.
Do I need a
from the
valley
top.
of death? I shall fear no evil quote right now from the good book.
Please, AB.
You need some Jesus.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I don't think, it's me
and Roberto Clemente.
Me and a whole bunch of Lion fans need some Jesus. There's a lot of us.
For Dana Galen and the great Lomas Brown, I'm Anthony Bellino. See you tomorrow, same time, same place, on the great voice of the Great Lakes.
Hey, listeners.
Hey, Lomas.
Are you looking for a smarter way to handle those high-interest credit card balances?
Yes, I am.
Or maybe you're looking to consolidate debt from the holidays. Whatever you're doing, the University of Michigan Credit Union has a way to help you keep more of your money.
That's right, partner. They're helping members get a real head start in 2026. So if you move your high interest balances from another financial institution over to UMCU Visa, you're going to enjoy 0% introductory APR for 6 months.
Nice. And here's the best part,
What's
AB.
that?
There's absolutely no balance transfer fees. You can move multiple balances into one easy payment and even enjoy the same 0% APR on new purchases. There's no limit on the number or amount of balances you can transfer.
We're fee-free until March 31st. Visit umcu.org right now and start saving today.
UMCU is insured by the NCUA.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay,